Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday. I almost said it was Monday. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025. We are just a couple days away now from the Chicago Marathon. I'm very excited about it. I also have some, confusing feelings about it too. Not just Chicago Marathon. I guess a lot of races and stuff. I kind of go through this like every major marathon, at least the ones where I would say mainly the ones that I'm not running, but some of the ones that I'm running too. But anyway, we can get into all that. And it's been a while. Like I feel like I have a lot of shoes to add to the shoe weights sheet. Well, I have 3. But I've taken pictures of the weights on the scale. I'm going to add them to the sheet today. And so that's going to be it. We'll talk about the weather. We'll talk about some stuff I'm doing over this weekend, and we'll talk all things Chicago. But before we do that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. I know I've been bad about getting these up for you guys to listen to. Hopefully this one is up in time for you to enjoy it before the race, and then we'll have some post-race ones as well. And then for everyone else watching this later but not live, hopefully you have made it into Chicago and you're watching this later in the evening and are just wanting to get off your feet. You got your feet up, you're in bed, maybe you've got some snacks. Maybe you got yourself like Italian beef and you're eating it back you probably should have ate it at the restaurant, but maybe you ate it back at your hotel. That's kind of a messy bed food, but you're living your best Chicago life, getting ready for the race, and I love that for you guys. All right. Terry says, did I miss a memo or forgot to change my clocks? Terry, I think it was a while ago when it was daylight savings for your country and not mine. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, all right. Race Day Running says, weather is looking good for this weekend. I agree. I think the weather is looking very nice. I think it's going to be cooler than we thought. I think that if you're starting in one of the later waves, it's still going to get warm for you towards the end. So if you're looking at more of like a noon-ish finish, it's going to be warm towards the end. But if you're starting in the first wave, kicking off at 7:35, by the time you're done, it's still going to be in the 60s, I think, for you guys. So not ideal weather, but I feel like given some of the races we've seen, about as good as you can ask for. I think it's going to be chill. This morning I woke up. I posted it on Threads. This morning I woke up, let the dog out. It was a little bit before 6 a.m. It was 44 degrees here in Crystal Lake. It's going to be a little bit different over at the lake. Not Crystal Lake, but at Lake Michigan for you guys over there. But it's going to be pretty similar, I think. Maybe a little bit warmer, but I could see my breath this morning and the grass was soaking wet. Because there's still some humidity in the air, and so everything that's like organic is going to get wet. So if you're thinking you're going to get there early to the corrals and sit down and relax before the race starts, which is what I would recommend, maybe bring something to sit on, So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Deezer Aperture says, not great, not terrible. Yes. And Mark wants to know, is the dog getting barky yet? That's a great question. That's actually why I was a little bit late today, is because I took a shower. You can see my hair still wet, but I took a shower, and all throughout my shower, I could hear the dog barking at something. And I was like, well, I did leave the back door like unlocked. I mean, I don't know who would come in here, but also where her crate is, she could see outside. And they recently went through and mowed down all the wildflowers back there. It depresses me every time they do it. But I think it's for wildfire purposes. I'm not sure exactly why they do it, but anyway, but you could see them like going back and forth in the backyard, mowing down some of those wildflowers. She got real loud then. And then just now she was like just barking like crazy. I couldn't figure out why. So I was trying to calm her down. So yeah, that's the situation. I mean, she's mostly beagle. So I feel like she's going to get really, really loud. Yesterday, I was taking my one daughter to soccer practice, and there was a lady walking her dog, and it was an old beagle, a little chunker of a beagle too. And the beagle saw a squirrel and was like wanting to chase after the squirrel, but the owner was holding her back. But that dog was like howl barking, in the way that beagles do. And my kids thought it was really funny, and I'm like, that's going to be our dog pretty soon. Pretty soon. All right. Super Legit was a marshal at the Twin Cities Marathon last Sunday and got to cheer on people at mile 14. It was super fun. Highlight was seeing Courtney Dauwalter run through. But someone mentioned it the other day about her performance, and I didn't get to bring it to all of our attention. So sorry about that for not mentioning it when you had put it in the chat last time, whoever it was. Maybe it was you, Super Legit. I don't know. But that's cool. Thanks for volunteering, being a course marshal. And I don't know. I think I might go up for Twin Cities next year. Maybe I'll do the 10 mile. I don't know if I want to run a marathon, but there's other distances, right? So I was also thinking that I might try and slide into Governor Walz's DMs again, see if he wants to talk about his race. Maybe I could do the father-daughter angle, you know? Maybe he'll be interested in talking about that. I did ask him about his time. I did try and I made like an interview request in DMs, so it's not like super formal. After he was spectating at the marathon last year and giving people high fives, never heard anything back. But anyway, maybe I'll give it another shot. But yeah, Courtney Dauwalter, running it again. That's cool. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew she was not from Colorado. I didn't realize she was from Minneapolis. I didn't realize she had run that race before. So that was kind of cool. It's cool to see. I wanted to make a joke. When I first saw it, I wanted to make a joke about influencers getting all these bibs, you know, all these influencer bibs. But I feel like, no, that's not the right person to make that joke with. And AJ says, what shoes was she wearing? That's a good question. Does anyone know what shoes Courtney Dauwalter was wearing when she ran Twin Cities? I don't know. All right. Daniel Estrella says, I'm feeling good about your Rory pick after listening to him at Life in Stride this morning. He's pretty confident that this is his best build so far. Yeah. Awesome. So last episode, on Monday, I went through some of my picks for the marathon this weekend, and then I formalized it and put it. I may have shuffled a little bit of my rankings, but for the most part, they stayed the same. I posted on Threads about it, and people are not liking that I put Rory ahead of Connor Mance for Sunday. And I don't know. That's the result I'm rooting for. Will that happen? I'm not sure. There's a people pleaser part of me that hopes that one of them gets the American record and one of them gets the Canadian record. You know what I mean? And then whoever gets the area record, I don't care. So the American record's 2:05:38. The area record was set by Cam Levins in Tokyo a couple of years ago. 2:05:36. So the Canadian record, therefore, is also 2:05:36. So like if each of them run, let's say 2:05 even, I'm going to ask each of them why they didn't just run a second faster so they could be a 2:04 guy. But let's say each of them run a 2:05, then each of them can walk away on the day with a record, a national record, which I think would be great. But also I'm rooting for Rory to win. I've been following Rory for a long time. I've been following since I didn't know who he was at BYU. I don't really follow too many college athletes. But I've been following since his NAZ Elite days. That was a long time ago, I feel. At this point, it feels like it was a long time ago. Was it a long time ago? I think it was. Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah. Mark says, Courtney Dauwalter was top 10 women, like a 250, I think. I want to say it was a 240 something. In my mind, I have 242, but maybe that's just a number that I'm remembering incorrectly. Luis's dog, Canelo, is super quiet. He only barks when we play with his ball. He seems annoyed when the neighbor's dog starts barking and everything. That's funny. Okay. Adam says Courtney came in 249.51 for 7th female. Nice. And Mark says Courtney's from the same town as Joe Klecker. I didn't know that Joe Klecker was from Minneapolis. Interesting. Okay, so speaking of Joe Klecker, Well, I mean, just because he's an on athlete, it's something that I wanted to bring up today. So I'm bringing my daughter to an event today, an event that's by On. I think I told you guys about this. All right, so On is doing some sort. I don't know what it is, and this is kind of it's really annoying my wife that I don't know more about it. She's like, "You're bringing our daughter there. You should know more details." And I'm like, that's not how these things work. But I know that we're going on a boat. It's leaving at Navy Pier. So I'm thinking it's like kind of sunset cruise. The one thing that I know is that Laura Thweet will be there. So it's an On thing. Laura Thweet is there. I know Laura. I like to say that we're friends. And I mean, we're not buddies, but like, you know, I have more of a relationship than I do with other like athletes, you know? Anyway. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I've been trying to figure out a way to get my kids to see me. Like when they were very young, my kids saw me race. And now I'm like, they've seen it. They don't need to come see that. But now I'd like the kids to see me kind of doing my thing. And I'd love to have them come to the shakeout, but my daughter's sectional meet is this Saturday. I'm going to miss it to do the shakeout. So they're not going to be able to come to like a group run, which also would be really boring and probably overwhelming for them because I wouldn't be able to talk to them at all. But so I was like, well, my daughter loves On. She has On everything. And so when they asked me if I wanted to go to this boat thing, I was like, yeah, I'll go. And then like a day later, I was like, hey, can I add a plus one? Can I bring my daughter? She's 13. I know that's kind of young, but she is a huge On fan and she is a runner as well. I'm like, she has On shoes. I'm like, her favorite shoe is On Cloud Surfer 2. Her trail shoe is Cloud Surfer 1 Trail, and her spike is On Spikes. You know, so I'm like, so she's a fan. And they're like, yeah, cool, bring her. So I'm gonna bring my daughter. And I was trying to think like she should probably know some On athletes. And she knows of a couple because we've been watching a lot of track this summer. But I was like, I wonder who actually, if any. I'm not that I'm expecting On athletes to be there. I don't know. I haven't been given much information about what's going to happen on the boat, or who else is going to be. I know Drew Whitcomb's coming. But yeah, I think I was like, we have like a long drive from here to get to Navy Pier. So I'm like, we're gonna have to go through some On athletes. Joe Klecker shows up to a lot of On stuff with his wife, Sage. And so like every year at TRE, I've never talked to Joe Klecker, I don't think, but I see them every year at TRE. They're always there. They're always coming through. And then I'm trying to think like a lot of athletes, their seasons are over. So they might be like coming into Chicago, but I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Adam says, I thought Laura ran for Saucony. She did, but she is currently a coach with OAC. So I've known about this for a long time, but it was like not formally announced. So this Boston, I saw her. Well, I at that point I already knew she was working with On. I don't know if it was like probationary, like they were trying it out. They weren't sure if they were going to make it permanent. And then at some point there was a formal press release about it. But she is a coach with OAC. So still doesn't have to leave Boulder for this job change. Let's see. All right. So that was my rant. So I'm just trying to figure out which athletes I need to tell her about. I was like, all right, we're on our way. We're gonna have to talk about. I don't know what Alicia Monson is doing. I don't know if Gisette Norris is going to be there. Is that her? That's her married name, right? Okay. I was like, the Herta Kleckers might be there. I don't know. Maybe the Coffee Club. I don't know if the Coffee Club boys will be there. I don't know who's coming. None of them might come, and that's cool too. You know, I'm not expecting people there, but I was trying to think we should probably like talk about these people. All right. All right, going back to the Chicago Marathon. Daniel Estrella says, Rory says if it comes to a kick, he's out sprinting Mance. I mean, he looks strong. And I feel like he's got some swagger, which I think is good. I think he needs it. Not that he needs it, but I think it's good for him, you know. But Connor Mance looks tough too. And Connor Mance has a really good kick. I was just looking back at some old footage the other day. I had a really good view of it up close and personal at Houston. Not this Houston, when he set the half marathon record. Or did he set the? It was whatever. I don't remember. I was running this year, so I didn't see it personally. But when he was running the half marathon, I think 2 years ago, coming down that home stretch, and he was with, I forget his name. He's the guy that always races with like a beanie on. If it's below 40, he's running in a beanie. I forget his name. And he just outkicked him. He just turned it on and like dropped this dude at like mile 12 and a half. And it was amazing to watch. So he's got both of them have good kicks. So I just hope that we get a good view of it on TV, you know, because I'll only be able to see like so many parts of it. I'm hoping we get a chance to see it on TV. All right. AJ thinks that Courtney Dahlwinter's shoes were on her IG. It was the S-Lab Phantasm. S-Lab Phantasm 2? The white ones? Was that one? Or I guess that, yeah, right? Because there was an S-Lab Phantasm 1. I don't remember running it, but anyway. Jack T has a question. Do you think Mance cares about 205.38? He ran 205 low in Boston. I have a feeling he cares more about Hall's unofficial American record. Yeah, I think so. So I listened to the Sidious Mag interview, which I thought was really good. And just because Connor Mance is so frank, you know, I don't think he just tells you everything. And so, but the one thing he didn't say is, yeah, like the American record is a goal. And he said, beyond that, I'll keep that to myself. So I think that's certainly possible. I think he has also a time goal in mind. I think he cares because I think that him breaking the American record in the U.S. at Chicago, which is a Nike sponsored event, I think would go over very well. I'm sure there's a bonus for that. I don't know that there would be, maybe there's a bonus for taking the Ryan Hall record from Boston. But I think he has his sights set higher. I think he would like to podium. That's what I think. Mark wants to know, is it me or does Mance have a weird stride? Not that I'm one to tell an elite marathoner how to run. I see it like when I think about Connor Mance running, I think mechanically from like the waist down, I think he's pretty like, it's very clean. But I think from the waist up, it looks very strained. He always looks like he's hurting. And it always feels like he's boxing the air to me. He's like trying to do like little uppercuts to the air whenever he runs. That's kind of what I see. Which also may be part of why it always looks like he's always running hard, even when he's running easy. I don't know. Again, I'm not one to critique, but that's what I see. Daniel thinks that the American record is probably Mance's C goal. Could be. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I guess like, do you even have ABC goals when you're like that? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like elites make A, B, and C goals. That's the thing. All right. Should we get to some shoe talk? Well, I just talk about shoes today. So let's get the shoe weights sheet up. We haven't looked at that in a while. And I gotta get my Strava ready too. Let me see. Hold on. I was just watching there was a YouTube video about Matt Centrowitz doing like a 25-mile run along the lakefront. I think he's in the race. I think he's running this Sunday. I don't know if he's pacing again or what. So we'll see. That'd be interesting. All right. The reason why I want to bring up my Strava is because I need to go look at, for one of them, it boggles my mind that I forgot to do this, but for the ASICS Metaspeed Ray, I forgot to take the weight of it before I started running in it. So I need to figure out what the mileage is on that one. All right. Let's bring it up and we can start looking at it together. All right. So here we go. I'm always low on storage. Let's clear all this. All right. So we got 3 shoes I want to add to this list today. Let me check on the comments here. All right. Daniel says Centro is targeting sub 20. Do we know that for sure, or is that a joke? I think that'd be fun. Fun to see. Do we think Centro is targeting the OTQ time? I think I would love to see Centro at the Olympic Trials Marathon. I don't know. Mark says, would you rather take a win in a slower time or a loss but an American record? Me? I think it depends on the win is where. I would take the win at Chicago over the American record, because then you could always go after the American record another time, you know? Yeah, but like winning a major, I feel like that's career changing, you know? Yeah. Daniel says that, Daniel says that Centro posted in his stories that he's targeting sub 220. Okay, all right. I love that. All right, let's get to these shoe weights. All right, so the 3 shoes that I have are ASICS Metaspeed Ray. We've got the Boston 13. And then we also now have the Hoka Mach X3. Now, I didn't show this to you guys, but it came in yesterday. I got it in the mail yesterday. And I wanted to put some miles in it today. And so I unboxed it without you guys. Sorry. Couldn't wait. And got it on the scale. But I went for 11 miles in it today. Already got some scuffs on that plate. You could see some marks there. I went on some road, some dirt road. And I don't know, but I like this one slightly better than the last one. I like the upper more. The upper looks like it's directly off of the regular Mach. Material is a little bit different, but the fit reminds me so much of the regular Mach. This tongue is weird though. It's super goofy. But overall, the upper feels great. And then it feels to me like the PIBA in the Mach X3 is softer. So I'm liking it a little bit more. And I could see that there's still some plate really far up here. But it felt to me like when I was past the rocker, I enjoyed this portion of the shoe much more, like a lot more than the rest of it. And I was wondering if maybe the plate cuts short, but I could see here that it doesn't. So I'm not sure why I like this part of the shoe so much more. Maybe it's because I'm finally like leaning enough into it to get through some of this really dense bottom layer. But it's slightly softer, but it's still very much stabilized. I mean, look at these guide rails on the side. They're huge. And then this wing plate definitely built for stability. So to me, it's still going to be the stable Mach. But, yeah. All right, JC wants to know what color this is. To me, this is tennis ball yellow, which means it's probably yellow-green. That's what I think. Yeah. So yes, the Mach X3. Did I say something wrong? Yeah, Mach X3. Yeah. I also got from Hoka the Rocket X3, but they sent it to me in the wrong size. So I don't know. It's over there. It's in a size 8. I tried putting it on, and no, there's no way. I'm not going to run in that. So I asked I asked them to if they would resend it, and I'd return that one if they wanted it back. But if they don't, I'll give it to one of you guys because I'm not going to run in it. It looks pretty though, but yeah. Danny says, "Did you get the Cielo X1 2.0 version? Is there a Cielo 2.0 version 2? You guys will have to let me know about that. I didn't hear anything about it. I only have the regular Cielo X1 2.0. This one I love. This shoe's great. I keep wanting to put more miles in this one because I do enjoy this and the feeling of the foam in this one so much. And I think it's a bit underrated. And then every time I say a shoe is underrated, I'm like, that's my fault. But I do like this one a lot. I'm trying to log some more miles in it. Elva wants to know, is there a comparison of the Cielo X1 1.0 versus 2.0? I love the version 1, but the version 2 looks so different. The version 2 is very different. It's a lot lighter, which is good. But it's a lot less stable. Like the version 1 felt very stable to me. It kind of felt like a Prime X, like a mini Prime X a little bit. The Cielo X1 2.0 does not feel like that. It doesn't feel as wide, which is part of what gave it its stability. And it is much more neutral. So it's much more like flexible of a shoe, which I like. But if you were really loving the X1 2.0, you might find it a little bit too like floppy. So I think the two shoes are very, very different. Danny George says, I'm planning on racing in them this Sunday for a half. I feel like they would be a great half marathon shoe. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, let's get to some weights for these shoes. Let's bring the sheet back up. No, there we go. All right, so I've got these all in my phone, so I got to look through some of my phone pictures to see what they are. And I always take pictures of it just so that there's video proof or visual proof. All right, all the other thing is we got to get in the mileage on these. So for these two shoes, I weighed them at 0 miles. Size 9, and they're road. For all these. Okay, but for the Metaspeed Ray, I want to say I have like 28 miles on it. What do I have on it? Yeah, 28.8. Okay, so let's start with the Boston 13. Make sure you're still seeing the weight. Okay. Boston 13, that shoe any guesses on this one, guys? Do you guys want to guess? I mean, I think I put it, I just did the review video, and I put it in there. Because I think a lot of times Adidas does not tell you what the weights are for their shoes. But when I weighed mine came in at 8.9 ounces and 254 grams. Here's the thing. Okay. That was 8.9 ounces is the Boston, right? How much do you think the Mach X3 weighs more or less? If you guys know, don't do it. But if you guys don't know and want to guess, then guess. Which one do you think weighs more? The Mach X3, where's the Boston? I think I can reach it. Look, I got them in the same yellow, tennis ball yellow color in each. Which weighs more? Boston 13 or the Mach X3? All right. Oh, good. We got nice. Steve McKellar says spreadsheet skills are improving. Yes, I'm very, very good at copy paste. All right. Superengine says Mach X3 is more. Tin Cromer says that it's less. Frank says less. X3 is heavier, says Eric. Elva says X3. Sean says the X3 is probably 10 plus ounces. Everybody thinks it's more. All right, a lot of you guys are leaning towards more for the X3. And you guys are right. The X3 does weigh more. And I was surprised because like when you pick it up, it feels lighter than it looks. But maybe just because it looks so big. Maybe that's why. But let me get the picture of that. All right. Whoever guessed 9.45, you are almost exactly right. On my scale, this shoe came in at 9.4 ounces, which you might be right. I don't think, for some reason, mine doesn't go to 2 significant digits on my scale. But the grams are 266 grams. So it weighs a lot more than the Boston 13, which I was surprised by. I would have guessed the other way around. And on foot, to me, the Mach X3 still feels lighter. So I don't know how that works. And Elva says, I feel like Hoka uppers almost always add a bit more for their trainers. It could be. I also think that this shoe has a lot of this dense bottom layer. I feel like it's mostly bottom layer. I think that's the problem with the shoe. Anyway, my meniscus says, does Hoka even make light shoes? The Cielo X1 is pretty light. X1 2.0. Although it's heavy for a race shoe, I guess. So maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. All right. And let's get to the Metaspeed Ray. This one, now famously, it's supposed to be 129 ounces, right? For a size 9, which is my size. But mine, and again, I wish I would have weighed it beforehand. But this one came in at 132 grams, which is a lot more than 129. But it's still 4.6 ounces. So still pretty light. Still very, very light. And I don't know what's considered a reasonable margin of error for shoes. But mine was not exactly 129, to be clear. And I'm not saying it's close enough, but I'm saying that's what it was. All right. Let's sort this sheet. All right. So that means that the Metaspeed Ray is still not the lightest shoe on my list. The Streak Fly 2 is the lightest shoe on my list. But I feel like the Streak Fly is basically a mile road race shoe. I don't even know if I'd want to do. I could do 5K in it maybe, but it would hurt. I'd be struggling, and I don't know that I would benefit from it. You know what I mean? I could do it, but I don't know that I'd be happy afterwards. You know what I mean? But yeah. So the order goes Streak Fly 2, Metaspeed Ray, Evo, Adidas Adios Pro Evo 1, and Adios Pro Evo 2. And then Metaspeeds, Metaspeed Edge and Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. Now with the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo, I know I didn't weigh that one because they gave that one to me. Did they give that one to me in Tokyo? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't weigh that one ahead of time, but I had weighed it at 7 miles. But anyway, those are the lightest. And then an Adios 9, which I just realized the other day that my Adios 9 is a size 8. I don't know. I could have swore I bought the right size on that one. I feel like they sent me the wrong size. And I bought that one, so it's probably user error. And then my Vaporfly. I mean, all these shoes that are right around the 6, Takumi-sen. Yeah, once you start getting into like towards 7, that's when I feel like it's a little bit getting heavy for racing. But like in those low 6s, a lot of fast shoes here. And then let's look at the other ones. Where are the other ones? Boston 13 is about the same weight as a Aeroglide 2. Oh, okay. See that 8.9 ounces? It's actually pretty light for how much shoe there is there. But then again, it's only 4 grams lighter than a Cloud Monster Hyper. And then Mach X3 is the same weight as a Cloud Monster Hyper. Another Cloud Monster Hyper. How many Cloud Monster Hypers do I have in here? Did I have 2 Cloud Monster Hypers? That doesn't sound right. Oh, I had a size 10 Cloud Monster Hyper. That's why. Okay. But yeah, so it's about the same. The Deviate Nitro 3 is 9.4 ounces, the same weight as a Magnify Nitro 3. Some of these weights don't make sense, guys. I feel like if I didn't, do we need to get the weight standards out again, maybe, to recalibrate this? I don't know. Tim Croner says, having held the Ray, it's insane how light it really is. It's like a toy. It's like it's hollow inside, you know? And Mark Peterson says, the Nike Streak 2, I think, is my AKPR from college. I feel like those shoes were, I don't know if they were better, but I have a lot of nostalgia for those old race flats. Calvin wants to know, what's the longer lifespan, the Ray or the Evo 1-2? I think the shortest lifespan goes to the Evo 1. After about 50 miles, I felt like it feels like a very different shoe. And then it goes Evo 1, then I would say Metaspeed Ray, and then I would say Evo 2. I have maybe 50 miles in my Evo 2, and I feel like this foam's going to last a long time. I feel like they overcorrected. I feel like they changed the foam to deal with the whole critique of the short lifespan. I think that Asics did it right. They made a shoe that performs how they want. It's not going to be super long lasting. They're not going to tell you how short they think it'll last, but they're not going to tell you that's long lasting either. I think that's the way to do it. It's race product. You don't have to apologize. You know what I mean? Claude says, any advice about glute activation? I know you made a vid a while back on your struggle understanding it. Anything you figured out? The closest thing I have to understanding what sleepy glutes are is this. The whole idea of a sleepy glute. I still don't really understand what it is. I don't understand how it can be sleepy. But the way I kind of try to conceptualize it all is, let's say you had to go run a 5K. If you had to drive for 4 hours to get to that 5K, you wouldn't want to just hop out of the car and have to run as hard as you could for a 5K. Your kind of back would be all tight, and you want to be like, I want to kind of loosen up for a little bit. I need to limber up because now I'm all cramped from being in a sitting car position driving for 4 hours, right? That's kind of how I understand sleepy glutes. You don't, you want to let kind of everything loosen up first. And for some people, glute activation is the thing that they need to do. I feel like when I was having glute activation problems, what I really had was glute weaknesses. That's maybe the other thing I realized. And so now, I'm more routine. I do a lot of rock climbing with my kids now. I wouldn't say a lot, but I do some rock climbing with my kids now. That has made a lot of stuff around the hip area a lot stronger. I've been also in the weight room. I wouldn't say a lot either on that one, but I've been doing other things to strengthen. So, yeah. So that's kind of my understanding of things is yes, glute activations will help if you have a glute problem, but the solution is making your mobility stuff stronger. Terry says, is it a UK8 for the Adios 9? No, I looked at it. It's not I've looked at it multiple times because mainly I was looking at it compared to my Takumi Sen, holding them up side by side when I did the Takumi Sen review, and I was like, why is this so much smaller? And I'm like, I don't understand this. And then I was like, oh wait, I've been running in the wrong size, and maybe I knew that already. I don't know because the sheet. I don't remember if I updated the sheet while I was doing the Takumi Sen review or what. But anyway, so it's not a UK. Same thing with the, it's over there. That's why I'm pointing at it. The Rocket X3 that Hoka sent, it's a US 8, unfortunately. Daniel Estrella says, did you guys hear about J-Lo's 449 mile in high school? CDS Mag reposted a podcast she was in. I need receipts. Look, if J-Lo said it, I'm not going to disagree. But I listened to that clip and I'm like, we're talking a lot about 1500 and 1600 here, and not really. And I know it was a conversation and it wasn't a running podcast, right? But we're bouncing back and forth between 1500 and 1600. I need to know which one we're talking about. To me, it wasn't clear. And I grew up in New Jersey, and maybe I think J-Lo is older than me. So around, I'm actually not sure. I think I think she's a little older than me. Because she would have been a fly girl when I was young enough to be watching In Living Color at home. You know what I mean? So... yeah. So then, anyway, so she's a little bit older than me, and at least in New Jersey, growing up, no one ran the 1500. I mean, we were in New Jersey, so it could be different in New York, but in New Jersey, no one ran the 1500. So if she's talking about I used to run the 1500, then I don't know. If she's doing it at 449 in like 1995, you know what I mean? Maybe she was on a club team where, she was running at 1500. So could be. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm not going to disagree with her. I don't need anyone coming at me for that. I'm sure what she says is correct, but I just need a little bit more clarity on it. I don't need it. She don't have to justify anything to me. I'm just saying, like, I'm a little bit confused. I think maybe Sidious Mag needs to get her on, and let's go through it. Let's go over that. And I also want to know what the shoes are. What are the shoes? Mark says 449 would have put her in elite races. I don't think that's possible. Mark says maybe 549. I don't know. I think 449 is not impossible. I'm sure that's what it is, but like, I'm very curious, and I would love to see more, of a breakdown on it. Miguel's in here. What's going on, Miguel? Hola, hermano Kofuzi. All right. Okay, hermano Kofuzi. Thank you. Oh, man. Good to see you, bud. How are you? Frank says it's 7 weeks to turkey trots. Guys, I signed up for a cross-country race. It's a real cross-country race. There's a river crossing or a creek crossing in it. It's in November. And I think we go over the creek twice. It's an 8 mile. 8K. I've never run an 8K cross-country race before. I think it's an 8K. I don't know. I feel like it'll be a fun part of marathon training, So yeah. And then I got an email about that turkey trot that I did last year in Dubuque with my daughter. I'm thinking about doing it again. And maybe this year I'll pace her. Or, I don't know, last year I tried to win a free turkey. And I think I came in 4th in my age group. So I wasn't close. But I don't know. This year I think I'll be in better shape. It'll be almost taper time. It'll be taper time. So it'll be like a taper stress. So maybe I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm gonna see if my daughter wants to do it. If she wants to do it, then I'll do it. Yeah. Let's see. AJ says, I used to run cross-country marathon Saturday after Thanksgiving. Then the park canceled the permit. Oh, that's a bummer. I feel like that'd be a pretty fun way to spend that Friday or the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Be nice. Mark says you can borrow my Nike Streaks 2K, Streak 2s for that 8K. So I think because it's mostly a trail, which I guess is like, and I was thinking like, all right, I'm going to do, because it's like through the woods and there's a creek crossing and stuff or a water crossing of some sort. So I was like, all right, this is like an England style cross country race. So I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get all kitted out in SOAR stuff, the wildest colors I can find, and then put on spikes for this. But then I was like, I cannot handle 8K and spikes. There's no way. So I think I'm just going to go with like, Solomon sent me these crazy S-Lab shoes at one point. And I think I wore them once. And I was like, these are so uncomfortable to wear. It feels like I'm standing directly on the lugs. And I feel like I'm going to run in that one. I feel like that's going to be the good one. Luke is debating whether he's gonna go back to where he tripped and broke his collarbone to get the revenge. Luke, I would say stay away from that space, man. Do not go back. Do not go back there. I would say just stay away. Yeah. All right, guys, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I gotta figure out what I'm going to bring for this on event. I don't really know, like, camera wise, what am I bringing? And microphone wise and stuff. And then I also gotta, like, I'm picking up my daughter from cross country practice to go there, and so we got to get like dinner and stuff ready. So I got to get stuff ready. But tonight I'm going to that. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to be hopping around all the pop-ups tomorrow, and then Saturday morning I will see you guys 10 a.m. at South Loop Fleet Feet for the shakeout run. John and Wesley Career will be there as well, bringing Bingwa coffee. So I feel like if you want to try Kenyan coffee, I feel like that's a good place to do it. We'll get some selfies. And then I'll probably be hanging out at the expo. I'll be on the expo stage with Lindsey Hine and Tommy Runs at 4 o'clock. I'm probably going to get to the expo like around 2-ish, kind of wander around the expo. So if you want to see me either before then or after the talk at 4, I'll be there. So those are the places to see me on Saturday, and then I'll be running around all over the place on Sunday. So that's where you can see me this weekend, guys. If you're racing, good luck to you. Hopefully the weather is in your favor. If you're training, good luck with your long runs. Be safe out there. Hopefully you're having good weather for it. And I'll see you guys. I don't know if I'll see you guys Monday, to be honest. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do Monday, but if not, definitely Thursday. All right, guys. Take care.